What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Scoop. I hope everybody had an amazing Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving from here, the Scoop and the Buckeye Boys. Got a good show planned for you guys tonight. Obviously, Thanksgiving, chilling out a little bit, but the Buckeyes, man, big time week for us. The rivalry game coming around. We know we're going up against a team that has a history of cheating. We're all aware of what that is. Ryan Day got asked about that in a press conference not too long ago about is he doing other things inside the Woody or with the team to kind of keep his ears perked for that. We'll dive into that and some defensive nuggets tonight too. But first, hit that like button for me. Hit the subscribe button as well. Super chats are open. Go over to the Apple Podcast, hit a like for us, and we appreciate y'all who are in the chat. But without further ado, going to bring on my good friend Nevada. Nevada, what's up, brother? How
Uh,
was your Thanksgiving?
I'm stuffed, man. I'm stuffed. Had lots of turkey, lots of ham, lots of the other stuff. About 17 desserts, and yeah, I'm definitely in a food coma right now. What about you, Devin? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. Fried a turkey. I used to do that with my grandpa back in the day. I haven't done it for a minute. So I did this time. We did it successfully, didn't set anything on fire. So I consider it a darn good day. I'm full. I uploaded a couple pictures I was going to share, but I didn't get them moved over here in time. I'll show everybody later what my Thanksgiving plate looked like. I really like bragging about it.
Well, I'm glad you just didn't. I'm used to watching those YouTube videos where the guys are blowing up and hillbillies are running around and those turkey. But like whenever I hear, so was it you were frying? Was it deep frying the turkey,
Oh,
or
yeah.
oh, deep frying it?
Yeah.
So the
Yes.
whole
Yeah. Yeah, there's videos. That's what people are doing when things catch on fire and stuff. Yeah, we put it out in the middle of the driveway, big old pan filled with a bunch of peanut oil, and you got to put it in real slow or it'll overflow and catch on fire. And yeah, there's some crazy videos of it. That's for sure.
Now, how long does it take to deep fry a turkey if done properly?
About 3 to 4 minutes per pound. I had a 25-pound turkey, fried it at about 350 for an hour exactly, and it
Oh
was
wow.
perfect. It
Oh
was
wow.
perfect. Yeah.
Wow, that just seems like a lot of work, but I'm glad you're okay. Thank God you're okay there, Devin. And but if not, it would have made for great content on the Buckeye Scoop YouTube channel. There, Devin blowing himself up with the turkey. So
For sure. I videoed it. Definitely. I'll upload the video and show the successful way to do it. Maybe last year I'll do a blooper one and
very,
purposely do it or something, see how it looks. For
very
for
nice.
the channel. For the
Very,
channel that is.
very, very nice. Appreciate that.
But yeah, Nevada, big time week. I am stoked for this game. I know the players are, I know the coaches are, but there's a part about this rivalry that goes back a good ways, which starts with Coach Woody. We've all heard the stories about him being, tightening up security when it comes to game times. He's always worried about the other team cheating. There's a story about him thinking waitresses were brought into a restaurant on purpose to distract the team. I don't know all the stories, and we know Coach Woody did not play with other teams cheating. He turned Michigan State in for a recruiting violation back in the day, and we know this team. Everybody knows the sign stealing, so we know that they are not afraid to do whatever it takes to win a football game, regardless of who they hurt, what the punishments are, the whole 9 yards. And I know that that subject is long and gone, but it's still attached to them. It's still the facts. That's still what they did. The largest cheating scandal in all of college football history, definitely in my lifetime, that we have ever seen. So, and you see the NCAA didn't punish them as harsh. So it's like, man, I mean, what's going to stop them from trying something else? Well, somebody in a press conference asked Ryan Day, hey, do you guys do anything different during this week? And he says, well, we just try to keep people close as a family, not let too many people in. Obviously, probably not talk to too many other people, but you wonder what else they're doing inside the Woody. In today's game, with all the technology, all the accusations flying around, it's like you got to make sure things are buttoned up well. I know it might sound something to laugh at or play at, but teams, especially the team we're going up against, will do whatever it takes. I don't know if you guys put it past scum if they see an opportunity to somehow I'm not a tech guy. I don't know what it would take to hack into servers, get film and all that. We know they've done it before. So why won't they do it again? So Ryan Day is focused on buttoning that stuff up right now. I'm sure it's not big on his mind because ultimately you got to go out on the field, beat the team on the field. I think Ryan Day and company have done a great job getting this team ready for that. But Nevada, speak to that a little bit. Go back to good old days with the sign stealing scandal, Connor Stallions. Let's bring up some good memories.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look, the cheating stuff with Michigan's going back a long way, and it's been various degrees. And you said, Woody was very concerned about it. Jim Tressel, I remember one year where he had him going and change the wristbands at halftime in the game because that was an issue for him, and that was something that they'd been concerned about. That's something they'd heard about, and they did that. They were prepared, went out there and kind of laid it on Michigan in a big way. And obviously the Stallions thing was a different level of cheating, a different level of duplicity. The first team ever in the history of the NCAA to be found with an aggravated repeat offender failure to monitor, only getting bailed out, by the fact that they got away with a $60 million fine instead of the necessitated postseason ban. But for Michigan right now, I think the big concern, and I think a concern that Ohio State's had, has been kind of electronic surveillance. So that takes a lot of different, mentioned that involves taping walkthroughs. Ohio State's had guys scan the sidelines and scan the things before bowl games to make sure that they're not being recorded on that stuff. And before the Georgia game, they found cameras that were pointed at the field. They said that it was kind of quiet and it was just something, for a camera that was set up for a documentary. But Ohio State's never quite sure. And now what they're watching is really the electronic surveillance. The idea of hacking the helmet communications and things like that, and making sure that all your helmet communications are completely, secure, because that really could be the next thing that they do. If you could intercept the conversations between the defensive coordinator and the middle linebacker, or the offensive coordinator and the quarterback, that obviously puts you at a big advantage. I mean, it's obviously the electronic version of what Stallions was doing with his massive sign stealing campaign, probably the next thing up there. And I think for Ohio State, they're never going to talk about it. They're never going to, they don't ever want to publicly air their concerns about this stuff, but they're watching it. They're watching it. They've kind of got their spy versus spy stuff set up right now to make sure that it doesn't happen. They want to stay ahead of the curve because they don't want to be the victims of another cheating scandal, be on the wrong side of it. And you come on, they want to be active in their own rescue and kind of fight the stuff before it happens. And I think Ryan Day is doing that. They've got people that are doing it in terms of looking for it. And I think it's just it's the next advance in terms of, being prepared for these games. And Ryan's very well prepared for these games on the field. They want to be prepared off the field as well. And, preventing sign stealings and helmet communication, interception. That's the next thing that they're doing. And they're doing it this year as a start.
Yeah, for those of you that might hear this and think, man, that's a little bit over the top. That's a little bit crazy. I'm not sure I buy into that. I mean, I don't know what other evidence you need than the sign stealing stuff with Stallions and all that. I mean, everything was laid out. The NCAA read out all the evidence they have. They were throwing stuff in ponds, telling people a lot, doing all kinds of things. So it is there. It's what they do. And you just can't put it past them, because if somehow before, right, all this sign stealing stuff came out, and we came on this show and knew all the details of it and tried to tell you guys, hey, watch out, something like this could happen, probably get laughed out of the room. But that's how far they went. That's how crazy they were about this thing. So you got to keep an eye on it. And it's a real thing. We just watched it play out in front of our faces at a level that which one would probably say is unbelievable. I mean, we don't even know all the details of everything they did, but a lot of what they did, it just kind of blows your mind. You're like, man, they really went all in for this. But big time game, like you said, got to get it done on the field. Ryan Day, when you listen to these coaches' interviews, the players' interviews, these guys seem zoned in. It looks like we're going to have everybody available for the game. They're talking about they're really trying to press this weather thing, Nevada. We need to start apparently really looking into this weather thing. I know B's the weatherman, but me and Funky talked about all the scum fans really trying to like ask for bad weather and really pointing to that. Well, I'm not sure that's going to do much good. It will, because these Buckeyes, the Tennessee game, man, that's what they did. But dive into this a little bit. I know you got a few nuggets from helping technician on the scoot board, so dive into it a little bit for us, Nevada.
Well, we got the helping technician had done a great breakdown and kind of what he thought the what the offensive game plan was going to be, and today broke down kind of the defensive game plan. And as we said, if you're not a member at BuckeyeScoop.com, you're really missing because it does a great job of breaking stuff down there before we talk about it here. But one of the big keys is going to be the offensive line for Michigan. I mean, it's a decent offensive line for Michigan, not a great offensive line. And Humphrey Davis talks about they have three freshmen that play prominently on that offensive line for Michigan, and they really think they can take advantage of them. They really feel like they've got a huge advantage on our defensive line versus their offensive line. And obviously, for a team like Michigan that likes to run the ball first, they like to run the ball, establish the run to set up their play action game. That's really, that's going to be a big advantage for Ohio State. Games are always about matchups, and this is a huge matchup for them. And I think the last thing really is going to be about how, the only way that Michigan can win the game is if Underwood beats us with his legs. And Ohio State is bound and determined to not allow that to happen because they've got the guys, they've got the Sonny Styles and the Arvil Reeses and the Caleb Downs and guys that can move and really run with Underwood. And they're bound and determined to not to let him do it. They're going to make him beat us with his arm, and I think that's a really good path for success. I think we've got key advantages at the key spots. And I think we've got just a systemic advantage at them with the experience that we've got on the defensive line against a relatively inexperienced offensive line. So I really think Ohio State's going to roll on Saturday, but I think it's going to start with our defensive line dominating them up front.
Yeah, I love the matchups there. I've watched a couple of these scum games, and yeah, they're not as strong as they normally are. Definitely at the tackle position. Helping technician pointed that out in the article. The other thing he talked about is our advantage that we have at coaching. Matty P in the NFL under Belichick, the Saban tree, all that stuff was 10-2 against NFL rookie quarterbacks. That was just an interesting statistic for me because the whole thing coming out with this Matt Patricia defense was how high of an NFL caliber defensive scheme he's running and how much it confuses these quarterbacks. And Bryce Underwood, he is a freshman quarterback coming into this. We've seen him struggle in several games against not the best defenses. We've already went over the games. They had to have a winning field goal kick to win the game. Yes, Bryce Underwood can hurt you with the legs. But we played Ohio. I get it, MAC school, but they still are the MAC champs, a good football team. Shut down their athletic quarterback, shut down Washington's quarterbacks, one of the most athletic, dynamic quarterbacks in the nation. We made Washington not look as good now because we beat them. That's a dang good football team. But when you got athletes like Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, I loved helping technician bringing up that diamond front with Arvell and Caden Curry on the ends. Caden Curry's playing like an absolute animal. And you add in these players and what they're able to do on the field with Matt Patricia's understanding of the game of football. That's a lot to ask for a freshman quarterback, no matter what team you play for, coming in with not the greatest weapons around you. He's got Andrew Marsh, who's also a freshman, going up against Iggy, Jermaine Matthews. So, when you look at our defense compared to their offense, Nevada, I don't know where I see a whole lot of hope for them. And again, the past is the past for those that want to bring up last year. I don't see a lot of hope for them on offense this year.
Yeah, I think they're going to really struggle to sustain drives, and I think for an Ohio State defense that hasn't given up more than 16 points this entire season to any individual opponent, I just think Michigan's really going to have a hard time doing that. And by contrast, I look at Ohio State and go, I think Ohio State can exploit them on the ground. I think Ohio State can exploit them through the air, and I really think the only way that I'd been concerned about this would have been if Ohio State had been in a position where I felt that Ryan Day was being super tight, super nervous, going, looking at the game the same way that he approached it last year. And I can tell you his approach, his mindset, his demeanor is 180 degrees different than what it was last year. And he is loose. He is confident. He's approaching the game like he's got nothing to lose. And the reality is, he really does have very little to lose. And I mean, he's got a coach that way because Ohio State's in the playoff regardless. If we lost, all it would mean is we missed the Big Ten championship game. That's our bye, and we kind of go through and we do stuff. I mean, for Ohio State, we've got lots of different options, regardless whether we win or whether we lose. And so, for as the coach, that's how you got to approach it. You always hate to lose any games. You don't want to lose any games, but you can't be afraid. You can't coach afraid. And I felt last year we were trying to prove a point. We've gone over that one ad nauseum. I really don't think he's going to make that mistake again. And I really think we're going to see one of the more aggressive game plans that we've ever seen out of Ryan Day, kind of a circa Georgia 2022 type of game plan. And I think that's exactly the thing that we need to do against a Michigan team that's, in my opinion, is very suspect against the pass.
Yeah, I love what you said there. Again, I mean, I know last year we had similar feelings, but a lot has changed since then. That's just the facts. A lot has changed. Obviously, Coach Day is different, but Nevada coming into this game every single year, you know, I always get excited for the game, get nervous for the game, get all those emotions rise up. But I mean, even throughout everything, we figured out the punishment after last year's game. We, have went through everything we've went through. What happened last year? We go win the national title, but this year, man, I don't know what it is. It just feels like there's a lot more hate into this, and I don't know why I'm saying I don't know. I don't think I know what it is. I know what it is. It's the cheating scandal, right? These guys do not deserve to win this game. Their name doesn't deserve to be in a rivalry like this with what they've done. So we need to prove that on the field. We really don't feel like the NCAA didn't give them justice, right? So again, not a lot riding on this in the fact of when you look at the playoffs, but as a rivalry with the Buckeyes, with the way things have been the last couple years and everything that's went on, man, I have a lot of dislike build up inside of me and want for these Buckeyes to go out there and absolutely smash this team into the ground with no mercy. And I would get emotional and not pull the starters, whether we're up 30. Very stupid. I don't think Ryan Day is going to do that. But if I was coaching, the starters wouldn't come out regardless of the score. That's when the emotions rise up. So tell us, Nevada, with everything that's happened, is this game got a little extra juice to it to you, or what are you thinking?
Well, I think I mean, look, these games always have a lot. I mean, we're obviously in uncharted territory, having dropped four in a row to them. So clearly that's and the cheating scandal and the whole circumstances of last year's loss and things. But I don't know. I have a confidence about this game that I haven't felt in a long time. I'm just telling you, like I just feel like last year. I mean, last year I felt good about obviously good about the game because we're in a position where, Ohio State, we're just better. But the one thing you couldn't, game plan for was for Ryan Day doing what he did last year. And I think it's okay to criticize Ryan Day while still being a big fan of his, while still being excited about what he brought, by still being excited about the national championship. I think you can say, hey, Ryan screwed up. And he did. Ryan Day screwed up last year and it cost us. So do I believe Ryan Day will do that again this year? No, not a chance in the world. I don't think there's any chance Ryan Day does that this year. And frankly, I thought that was the only path for them to win last year. I think the only path for them to win this year, same thing. I think that, I think Ryan Day is going to be in a situation where he goes out and dictates the terms. They understand the path to winning is via Julian Sane, being setting up the run and aggressively attacking, Underwood and making Underwood, you know, be the guy with his arm. And I just don't think he can do that. So I think all the things were set up right there for Ohio State to have a big victory on Saturday. And so as nervous as I am about the game, I'm really not. I'm super, super confident about it. And I think we're going to have a big win on Saturday.
Well, Nevada, I got this interesting stat for you. You brought up that, you know, about the only way you could see us losing last year is the way that we lost. And that was this tough thing that we felt like Ryan Day maybe had a little bit of, which stems from this stat everybody brings up in this game of whoever wins the rushing attack wins this game. When I hear that, I cringe now, right? Because I've explained it 100 times why, and I'm with you on that. I'm like, man, after what we experienced last year, there's just no way that Ryan Day can come out with that mentality. Not only did we see him in the playoffs operate in a different way, but we've seen this offseason as well, just carries himself with a different demeanor. We've seen him in the Wisconsin game, break Julian Sayin in throughout the season in a spectacular way. So just to reiterate, I know you already talked about it, but there's no fear of that with you, right? There's no fear of Ryan Day really getting caught up in this rushing attack for this game.
No, there's zero concern about that. For Ryan Day, obviously, that was the main topic of the players' meeting last year with Ryan Day was his inexplicable commitment, to the run to the exception of everything else, and trying to prove a point. And he got called out for it by 100 guys in the most, brutal way. And they've actually made documentaries about it, about how that whole thing, that meeting turned everything around. So the idea that he would lapse back into that, no, I really believe that the game plan is going to be the one that we saw against Wisconsin, where he came out throwing the football. I mean, the fact that they did that against Wisconsin so effectively, then we never saw them do it again all year. I think that should tell you all you need to know. I mean, that was a trial run. They wanted to do it with live bullets flying to see if they could do it. They did it. Well, that's what you're going to see again. I think it's going to be all about tempo. It's about avoiding the run pass sequencing that has really bedeviled Ryan Day in his losses and the few losses that he's had. Don't run pass. Pass first to set up the run, and you'll have more success. And certainly that's the most successful sequencing for a team like Ohio State, with Julian Sayin at nearly 80% completions, and Carnell Tate, JJ Smith, Max Cutter, Brandon Innes, etc. So I have no concerns that he will lapse back into 2024 Ryan whatsoever. But we'll see on Saturday. But I'm very, very confident in that.
All right, so we need a bold prediction here. Is the first play going to be a run play or a pass play? Not that that matters at all. I'm just curious your thoughts.
I think it'll be an RPO. And so I think it really depends on what they
Yeah.
give us. You know what I'm saying? I think Julian's saying, I mean, to me, if I would put the game all on Julian Saint's shoulders. I know he's a freshman, but man, I've used this to describe him before. He's an old soul. He's a guy that goes out there and, he can handle the big time. He can handle the excitement of a game up there. And he's ready to do it. He's been reading defenses effectively all year long. I have every confidence in him doing it, up there against Michigan. And I think the faster we go, I think the more success that we'll have on offense. Because I think the key in this game is going to be as many possessions as possible, getting as many expected points as you can out of every possession. And so I'd say first play RPO, probably a slant pattern, connection with JJ to start it off, and we're off to the races.
Okay. You've been doing this too long, Nevada. That was a pretty slick answer. When somebody asks you, hey, are they going to run or pass? And you say, hey, man, they're going to RPO. I'll let you know you've been doing this for a while. There's no way you're going to be wrong now, Nevada. You just nailed that question. You know what I mean, dude?
Well, I mean, but I mean, RPO action, you can identify it. You can look at it and see if
Yeah.
it actually did. I mean, it might look. It'll probably be a called run right in the middle of the line. You'll be like, no, Nevada, that was not an RPO. But no, I mean, we'll see. But I just really think they're going to try to run the game through Julian Sayin, and I really think that's the right path.
Nevada, can you just imagine, right? I just want you to act like the first play of the game, you can see every Buckeye fan's faces. First play, run up the gut, stopped for no gain. What do you think Buckeye fans are going to do? Even though it's the first play, it's one play, doesn't mean much. Depends on what they do the rest of the game. But I feel like that'd be a great picture to take, don't you?
Yeah, well, I think it would all depend on if they did the same thing on second down. If on second down they ran in the middle line, then we'd really have a problem. But yeah, no, I think Ohio State fans are going to be a little impatient. Look, as they should be. I mean, a lot is expected from this Ohio State team, and it's a great Ohio State team, and this is not a great Michigan team. And as I've used this expression before, and I'm stealing it from Ryan Day before the second Oregon game last year in the Rose Bowl. This game does not need to be close. There's no need for this game to be
Yeah.
close. And frankly, I don't think the game will be. I don't see this being a last second field goal game. I think Ohio State's going to lay it on them.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a rivalry game where you throw the fact out that one team is way more skilled than the other. That doesn't have to happen. The way more skilled team can absolutely blow out the way less skilled team, and that's what I think is going to happen as well. Real fast, guys, I want to get an announcement out of the way. Do not forget about the Friday Hate Week banter show from 7 to 10 p.m. A big list of people coming on, big time names. There's obviously going to be changes to this. People have to cancel last second. Somebody already has. College football with Sam, not going to be able to make it. But still, as you can see, we're going to have a hard time getting all these guests in already in 3 hours. But stay tuned for that, guys. You're going to want to be here for that. Hit that like button while we're at it and the subscribe button as well. Nevada Thanksgiving show, Thanksgiving Day, gonna be a little shorter today, but I just got one more thing I want to talk about here, and we'll go keep digesting our food for the day. You've watched this game a lot. There's been some shenanigans a lot in this game, from their players untying our players' shoes in the middle of the game while they're on the ground tackled, to planting flags, to our players giving them the bird going down the tunnel, all kind of things, right? Also, people worried about officiating, really worried about that with this game. I think we're just so nervous about any kind of shenanigans. What do you expect? You've seen these scum players play some games. You've seen the attitude. You've seen the backflips after wins on the field and taking selfies before the game's even over. What do you expect from these players coming in? Do you expect in the big house that these scum players are going to be trying and doing some shenanigans on the field, before the field, after the game? What do you expect from this? How do you expect us to react?
Yeah, I think it's a classless team led by a classless coach, and so I think that's going to be part of their MO. It's going to be trying to get us off our game with all the talking and all the stuff. And I think for Ohio State, just I think these environments can be great because nothing kind of galvanizes a team like playing in a hostile environment. And this will certainly qualify as a hostile environment for Ohio State. But I think for Ohio State, they just got to avoid the noise, stay out of all that stuff, stay out of the skirmishes. I frankly think refereeing has been bad, but it's been bad both ways. So I think for Ohio State, just avoid that stuff. Stay out thing. Don't get caught up in all the noise. Just play your game, and you'll be just fine. But yeah, I expect it from Michigan because Sharon Moore's a piece of trash. So when you have a piece of trash as your coach, the players act like trash. It's always been that way at every level. Doesn't matter whether it's high school, pee wee football, college, pros, whatever it is. Teams take on the perspective from their coach, and Sharon Moore is a classless guy, so it's not surprising that Michigan acts that way.
Yeah, I mean, we're already hearing what they're saying before the game. The amount of disrespect and lies that these players are each saying about our coach, Coach Day, it's crazy. And they're only repeating what they were told, and what they have heard. And it's sad when you got an organization that does that to players. So obviously you got some players on the team. Even JJ Smith's gotten a little altercation after a couple games, or during the game, couple unsportsmanlike conducts this year. So Philip Daniels, our right tackle. So there's some players that Ryan Day has gotten to their ear and said, look, hey, they're going to do everything. They're going to twist your leg. They're going to try to hurt you. They're going to do everything. So I expect that our players are going to be ready for this, man. This is the Buckeyes, bro. The brotherhood and the culture and the family-like atmosphere that Ryan Day has created here, with their faith as well thrown in there. I like where this team's sitting in anything, regardless of what happens. But want to remind fans as well The link is in the chat. I believe Steely put it in there. Go vote for J.J. Smith for the Biletnikoff Award. He is the highest or the best wide receiver in the nation. That's a fact. Also, we haven't talked about it yet, but Buckeyes did get a flip, Nevada. Defensive lineman Darius McKinley. His brother, as a sophomore at LSU, was a five-star defensive tackle in the class of 2023, 24, and he made a visit to the Buckeyes in June. So a lot of people are wondering if it's a connection there. Buckeyes still on a heater with recruiting, flipping recruits. We expect some more. So that's about it about it. You got anything to say about the recruiting stuff? Not really focused on that right now. It is game week, baby. Game week. But I wanted to let people know. People were asked about in the chat, so I want to give some thoughts on that. And Chris Henry Jr. is a Buckeye. Everybody relax.
Yeah, now we've got, I mean, look, this is flip season. This has been just a unbelievable, um, wildly successful season for Ohio State, flipping recruits from other schools, and they're not done. They've got at least two more ready to go. I think, but as you said, all eyes are on the game on Saturday. I mean, after we win the game on Saturday and things then start focusing on the Big Ten championship game, I expect to see more activity on the recruiting front. But for Ohio State right now, business is really good. You've got National Signing Day coming up. And Ohio State's just really well positioned, as we said you would when people were freaking out about 2026 recruiting. We were like, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. Ohio State's got stuff. They're gonna finish strong." Well, they've finished really strong, and as I said, they're not done yet. They've got at least two more coming on, and that's good news for Ohio State. And I expect them to finish in the top three or four in recruiting, and then 2027 could be even better. So buckle up for that.
Yeah, this Buckeye program, even some of these recruits are seeing it. Jay Timmons, before he committed, called this the Buckeye era, and that's what it is. We're 11-0, going in to play our rival. Got our rival shaking in their boots right now. They have to be a little bit nervous with this juggernaut of an Ohio State team coming into their stadium. I cannot be more excited for this game coming up. After the game's over, obviously, you guys know, come back here. We cover recruiting. Me, Funky, the Scoop channel all together cover recruiting very well. There's some updates we got to talk about. We're not talking about it because it's time to focus on the game. That's what we should be focused on. But Nevada, any final thoughts for Buckeye Nation, and we will get on out of here.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very, I'll have my game prediction tomorrow with my actual score breakdown and score prediction, but I'm telling you right now, I'm predicting a big, big day for Ohio State on Saturday. Well prepared. I'm loving the game plan on both sides of the ball. I'm loving the health of the team. I'm loving the attitude of Ryan Day and the staff. And I think Michigan's going to be in for a long afternoon on Saturday.
Yeah, the offensive stuff we're hearing come out of the Woody, the defensive stuff, the health of the players, everything you just said, man, it's setting up for a beautiful day on Saturday. The weather going to be nice and cold for us. This They're players from Ohio and all over the country that have been in Ohio. We saw the Tennessee game. I'm not tripping about the weather. They can keep pushing that all they want, but hey, it's hate week, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving day. Hit that like button on the way out, the subscribe button if you haven't. Go over to the Scoop message board. Get over there. If you haven't been over there, go over to Apple Podcasts. Get us a like. But on that note, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
IO.
Hey guys, I'm very sorry. I can't do it. I forgot the super chats. I know Nevada's already gone, but I got to hit them. Sorry. Thank you so much for the $10, Clueless. Day needs to pull a play out of Leach's playbook and drop a fake game script in front of the scum bench. Yes, I agree. That would be absolutely hilarious, man. Dang, I wish I would have read that with Nevada on here. Same with this one, $4.99. Thank you, OSU, man. I see a lot of Henry Smoke to WVU or Oregon flip any chance. That's not what we're being told. The kid has shut down his recruitment publicly twice already, literally shut it down. And there are no issues coming from anybody that I'm talking about. Yes, teams are coming in with big time offers, a lot of money, but I mean, that's the information I'm getting. Anything can happen in recruiting, but Chris has been locked into the Buckeyes for quite some time, and he sees the spot that he possibly has on the field next year at the best wide receiver development school in the nation. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for your super chats. Sorry I didn't get him with Nevada on here. God bless y'all. OH.